Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's Shop My Stash video. I am really excited for this Shop My Stash. I actually went to film my Shop My Stash like I normally do, where we're just like in my makeup drawer and then we go shop through my stash. And honestly, as I was editing that, I was just feeling really bored by the footage, and I've kind of been feeling this way about my Shop My Stashes the last few times I've edited. And I'm actually not kidding when I say, like, I've gone to bed that night feeling like anxiety over whether I should post that video or not, because I just, like, I'm not inspired by it. And I've been toying back and forth with not doing Shop My Stash on my channel anymore, but I really enjoy Shop My Stash videos myself. Like, I like to watch them, and I had been enjoying filming them. So I do have my 7 and 7 series that I do like the opposite weeks that I'm not filming Shop My Stash. I film Shop My Stash every other week, and then I'm doing this new series called 7 and 7 that I do on the opposite week of that, where I choose 7 products myself to really focus on for those 2 weeks and try and use them at least 7 times. And I've really been enjoying that series. So I figured I just needed to like spice up the this Shop My Stash series, and I've decided that instead of me going through and shopping my stash for items, I am going to let a random number generator do that for me. So I basically have my entire makeup collection inventoried on spreadsheets, and I have them separated out by category. And what I'm thinking is, for each category, so for example, concealers, I'm going to randomly generate 2 concealers, and then myself personally is going to choose 2 other concealers. So I'll have 4 items per category to work on every 2 weeks, and then I'll come back. So next week I'll come back and kind of, we can start my makeup drawer. I'll go through all the items that I had picked. We can talk about things that I used, didn't use. Maybe I'll keep some things rolled in, and then I will again regenerate numbers randomly and try and cycle through my collection that way. Because I feel like, even though I know in the back of my head I'm trying to cycle through products, there are still products throughout my collection that I purposely don't choose just because I don't feel like using them. So I mean, if the random number generator feels that it's in my future to use those products, then so be it. It doesn't leave a bias from who's picking the products to focus on. So I'm hoping this will also help me kind of learn to love products, or learn to at least like products in my collection that I don't feel like reaching for. And I think that this will just be a new fun way for me to cycle through my collection. I hope that you guys like this, and I hope that you guys like this idea and are excited to watch. If so, then stay tuned. First, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I do post 5 videos a week, so I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. If you have any ideas as you're watching this video of like things I could do differently with this new style of Shop My Stash, then leave them linked down below. I would love to hear from you guys and make this like our own thing. But yeah, other than that, let's just jump into this video. So I'm thinking I will first randomly generate the products, and then based on what I randomly generate, then I personally will go choose the other products for you guys, and then I'll share them with you at the end. I'm hoping that my eyes are in focus. It's actually Sunday, like I'm filming this, and then I'm gonna edit and post it, and hoping to get this all edited and posted before football starts. Granted, the Vikings played on Thursday, so there's not like an uber important game to me today, other than the Packers play tonight, and I'm fingers crossed hoping that they lose to help us with our division. Anyway, this isn't a football YouTube channel, this is a beauty YouTube channel. Okay, you guys, so we are going to start with primers, and I currently have 13 primers in my collection. So we're gonna choose 2 numbers between 1 and 13, and we get number 10 and number 9. So I'm just gonna write all the numbers down, and then I'll grab every product at the end to try and save us a little bit of time. For foundation, I currently have 26 foundations. So we get number 8 and number 3. Okay, so then for concealer, I have 15. I'm gonna figure out hopefully by the next video how to just like screen record my phone, and then I'll just pop it in here. But we get number 14 and number 2. I don't know if you can see that, 2. For powders, I have 11 powders right now, and we get number 5 and number 11. Okay, for bronzer, I currently have 19 bronzers in my collection. So we get number 5 And number 5 again. Must really want me to have number 5. Number 9. For blush, I have 36 blushes in my collection, and we get number 18 and number 20. Okay, I have 48 highlighters inventoried in my collection. I feel like that number might be inaccurate because I thought when I did my makeup inventory, which I haven't bought any highlighters since then, I thought it was in the 30s. Interesting. There might be a couple highlighting palettes I have under highlighters that I counted towards face palettes in my makeup inventory. Anyway, we are going to randomize a number between 1 and 48. And we get number 6 and number 12. So next up we have face palettes, and just because of the nature of face palettes, I really only want to have 2 per rotation. So I'm going to randomly select one, and then I personally will select one. And I currently have 22 face palettes. So we will randomize number 3 and then number 18. Okay, and then as far as eyeshadow palettes are concerned, I'm currently doing a 19 Shadows in 2019 project, or a Pan Those Eyeshadows project. So I'm not gonna pull any separate eyeshadow palettes, or I'm not gonna randomly select any eyeshadow palettes. I'm just gonna focus on the ones that I'm doing for Pan Those Eyeshadows, and then pull eyeshadow palettes as I feel like I want to. I am gonna be doing a palette a day for 30 days in November. So I know I'll get some really good use out of my palette collection in November. I'm not really worried about cycling through my palette collection. As far as eyeliners are concerned, I pretty much just reach for eyeliners as I feel like they match with looks. So I don't want to randomly select any eyeliners. If you guys have different opinions or feelings on this, if you want to see me randomize some of these categories, let me know in the comments, and I can definitely change the way that I do this video for the next update. For single shadows, I have my single shadows and my liquid like Stilas in the same category. I have 33 of those, so we will randomly select 2 and then I'll choose 2. Yeah, I'm so bad at using single shadows. Okay, so we're randomly selecting number, here I'm gonna 15 and number 2. For mascara, I'm not going to be opening up a new mascara every couple weeks, so I'm obviously not going to choose any new mascaras. Okay, and then finally for the lip category, I'm going to randomly select 1 from each lip category. For example, bullet lipstick, liquid lipstick, lip gloss, lip liner, and then like lip crayons. I'm gonna select 1 randomly, and then I personally will choose 1 from each category. So starting with gloss, I currently have 47 glosses in my collection, and we get number 27. For liquid lipsticks, I believe I have 78, and we get number 57. For lip liners, I have 28, and we get number 24. For lip crayons, I believe I have 12. And we get number 9. And then for bullet lipsticks, I believe I have 36. And we get number 19. Okay, so I'm quickly gonna go grab all of the randomized products, then I'll come back and show you the randomized products as well as the products that I personally have selected to work on for the next 2 weeks. Okay, I'm back, and that was actually really fun. I can tell already that this is going to be a really fun way to do Shop My Stash, at least for a little bit. So we are gonna start, I'm just gonna go through each category with you, show you the products that I was randomly, or that were randomly selected for me, and then I'll tell you the 2 products that I picked to pair with them. So starting with primer, both the primers that were randomly selected are honestly probably 2 of my least favorite primers in my collection. Go figure. Starting with the Ofra Rays of Light primer. This one is supposed to be like a bronzing primer, but I really don't get that bronzing effect from it, and it was just kind of like a letdown sort of product for me, so it's just not a favorite of mine. And then I also got this Kaja primer, which is newer to my collection, but this is so almost like glittery. Like I feel like you could rub this all over your body and give like just like this glistening effect. So I feel like this is one more suited towards like the summertime. Not sure how I feel about this being one of the primers that I'm supposed to be working on. So then the two primers that I'm pairing with it that I chose myself, first I have this one from Amazing Cosmetics, and honestly this will always be one of the ones that I choose until I finish this, just because it's the oldest primer in my collection, not a favorite of mine, and I'm really just trying to use this up and get it out of my collection. And then I wanted a smoothing primer, so I selected the Touche Eclat No Problem primer. I really do enjoy this primer, so this will be the other primer that I personally selected for myself. Moving on to foundation, I was really excited to see that this one was randomly selected for me. This is the YSL Touche Eclat Radiance Awakening foundation, and this is one of my favorite foundations in my collection, so I was super excited about this. And then I also got the It Cosmetics CC Cream. This is the radiant version, and I really enjoy wearing this in the summertime, but not so much the winter, so this will be an interesting one. So then the two that I selected for myself, it's been a while since I have reached for my L'Oreal Pro Matte Foundation, and honestly this is like all I wore last December, so I figured I'd just reminisce, bring back those memories, and wear this again this fall / winter. So really excited to get some use out of this because I do really enjoy this foundation. And then it's also been a little bit since I've used my Rimmel Lasting 25-hour breathable longwear foundation, and I really do enjoy this one for work just because it is lighter. Like, it just doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It's like a light to medium coverage, and I just really do enjoy this one, but it's been a while since I've reached for this, so I thought that this would be a good one to toss into my basket. Okay, then for concealer, the random generated concealers were the Tarte Shape Tape in Fair, which I wasn't too excited about just because this is not my favorite concealer to wear. It's just a little bit too full coverage for me. But I also pulled the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer, which is one of my favorite concealers in my collection, so I was really excited about this one. And then the two that I selected for myself, it's been a while since I've used the Elsie Silk Concealer. I forget what this is. The Elsie Complete Remedy Silk Concealer, and I do remember really liking this, so I wanted to get some more use out of this. And then this Flower Beauty one is currently going in my 7 for 7, so I figured I would just keep this in rotation and mix it maybe with the Tarte Shape Tape, because the Flower Beauty one is a little bit too dark for me, and the Tarte Shape Tape can pull a little bit light on me, so figured I could mix these and hopefully make it work. My randomly selected powders were the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder. This is a loose powder. I'm gonna try and get some use out of this. I used to like this more than I do now, and I am currently working on the Becca Hydra Mist powder in one of my projects, but I will still try and get some use out of this. And then I also randomly selected the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder. I've had this in my collection probably for over a year now, and I don't know if I've ever even used this. So it'll be a good chance to see if I like this or not. And then for the two powders that I'm gonna pair with that, I have the Essence All About Matte Fixing Compact Powder. As you can see, I've hit pan on this, and I'm honestly just trying to use this up. Not my favorite powder. There's definitely other translucent pressed powders that I prefer over this and would purchase, even though this would be the cheapest option. There's just other ones I like better and I'm willing to pay a higher price for. And then I'm also going to be reaching for the Hourglass Luminous Light Finishing Powder. This is something that it's like painful for me to use. I don't know why. I just never feel like reaching for this. So I figure if I just keep this in my makeup drawer, my everyday makeup drawer, hopefully I'll get some use out of this. I've mentioned this before, but I think I'm gonna put this in my 20 for 20 project pan just to give me the extra boost of motivation to finish this. But this will be one of the powders I select to work on the next couple weeks. For bronzer, I randomly selected the NARS Sun Washed Bronzer, which was actually one that was going in the last rotation of my Shop My Stash, and I got some good use out of this. So I was gonna put this away, but I guess the random number generator just wants me to keep working on this. I do really like this bronzer. It's one that you can build up, which I do appreciate, because sometimes we go a little bit heavy-handed with our bronzer and I end up looking like I rubbed Doritos on my face. So excited to continue to work on that. And then I also pulled this one, which my sister recently gifted to me. This is MAC Sun Soak Strip. Now she gifted both of them to me. I have this one in Canyon Dreamin', which is a little bit lighter, and honestly this one might be a little bit too dark for me right now, but I'm still gonna see if I can make this work for me, and I'm really excited to be working on one of the bronzers that I really haven't touched within my collection. So then for the two bronzers I am choosing to work on, first I have this one from Too Faced. This is a little mini of their Chocolate Soleil bronzer. This was going in my previous round of my Shop My Stash, and I was really enjoying it towards the end, so I just want to continue to work on this one. And then I also am going to choose a cream bronzer to keep within my makeup drawer. This is the Ulta Beauty Face sculpting color stick. I don't know if you can get this anymore. This is in the shade Contour, but I use it as a cream bronzer typically when I go to the gym, and I really do like this product. I would just like to continue to work on this though and finish this up because I have the Milked Bake bronzer, the cream bronzer that Milk makes, and I really like that one too. Because I don't wear cream products that often, I feel like I really only need one cream bronzer in my collection at a time. So I would just like to get this used up and out of my collection. For blush, the random selections, first I have this one from MAC, which is in the shade of Fairly Precious, and I laughed when I got this because this is more of like a blush topper. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it swatched, but this is one that I definitely only reach for really in the summertime. I'm gonna try and get a few uses out of it, see if I can make this work somehow, some way. But I was laughing when I selected that. And then I also have this one from Natasha Denona. This is a blush duo in the shade 15, and as you can tell, it's just like a nude blush and then a pink blush, and I actually like to use this pink blush and then use this side over top just to kind of like make it a little bit more subtle. These have a bit of a sheen to them. They are not matte blushes, but I don't mind that. I don't mind having like a little bit of a sheen to my cheeks today. I feel like I'm looking a little dry, a little extra matte, but I'm also trying to get filmed before my daughter wakes up, so it's like no time to make myself look any more dewy. So those were the two blushes that were randomly selected for me. And then two that I selected for myself, I selected this one from Flower Beauty. This is in the shade Sweet Pea. This is a matte blush, and as you can tell, it's just a really pretty mauve toned blush. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it swatched. That was a really weak swatch on my end. But this is just a really beautiful mauve tone blush for the fall time. And I do typically like more matte blushes in the fall. So I figured since I had two glowy blushes that were randomly selected for me, I would choose a matte blush. And then I also selected this one from Cover FX. This was going in my last round of my Shop My Stash, and I used this a couple times and really enjoyed it. This is in the shade Warm Honey. I've mostly just been using the matte side of this, but it's just a beautiful color for this time of year. So definitely wanted to continue working on this one. For highlights, my random selections. First, I had this one from Dose of Colors in the shade Bathe, and this is a super intense highlight. And I feel like it's gonna be a little too dark for me right now. It's this really intense pink toned highlight. It's beautiful and I love it, but this is one that I typically only wear in the summer just because it's so intense, and it works better for me when I have a little bit of a tan. I am planning actually to do some self tan today too, so maybe I will be able to get some use out of it. And then I also randomly selected this one from Makeup Forever, which I love to reach for this guy in the winter time. This is in the shade 1, and this is another pink toned highlight, but this is much more of like an icy pink. So I was really excited about that. So then for my personal selections, I am picking Becca Prismatic Amethyst. This was going on my previous round of my Shop My Stash, and I was actually really enjoying reaching for this. I thought that this did a really nice job of brightening up the face, so I wanted to play with this one a little bit more. And then I wanted a more like yellow or gold toned highlight, so I'm picking my ABH Amrezy highlight. I thought that this was coming back for a third time, but apparently it isn't, which just breaks my heart because I absolutely love this highlight. It's this beautiful yellow gold highlight. On days that I need more of a subtle highlight, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do, but we'll figure that out later. Moving on to single shadows, my random selections. First, I got this from Stila. This is their Shimmer and Glow, so not their Glitter and Glow, and this is in the shade Kitten, which is just this really pretty golden shade, and this is really easy to use on days that I just want like a one shadow and go, so I feel like I will be able to get some good use out of this. And then I also randomly selected this one from Helios Beauty. This is an eyeshadow. I'm pretty sure I got this in a BoxyCharm. This is what it looks like. It's this like satin, sort of like deep plum purple shade. It actually would probably go well with my eyeshadow today. If I don't reach for this at all, I'll probably just end up decluttering this to my daughter by the next rotation because I just don't see myself reaching for this. Sometimes I don't know why I even keep these things around, but I will try and use this at least once, see how I feel about it. The texture on this honestly feels kind of similar to a Super Shock shadow, which sometimes I find to be like a difficult formula to work with unless it's just like a lid shade, which this isn't necessarily what I would consider to be a lid shade. So we'll see about this one. We shall see. And then for the singles that I selected, I'm currently working on this guy in my 7 for 7. This is a Super Shock shadow from ColourPop, and it is one of the shades from the collaboration with Halo Beauty. This is in the shade Extra Sprinkles. I'm like running out of space to swatch. I doubt you'll be able to see that, but this is just like a golden shimmery shade, and I've gotten some good use out of this, but because it's still going in my 7 for 7 and I haven't quite used it 7 times, I'm going to keep this and have this as one of my single shadow selections. And then this has been rolling for a couple rounds in my Shop My Stash. This is the Bobbi Brown Metallic Longwear Cream Shadow, and this is in the shade Goldstone. I used to use this this is really old. I used to use this a ton in college, but I just never reach for this now. But it's such a pretty shadow that like I just don't have it in me to get rid of this. Where is it? Right here. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it swatched, but it's this beautiful like golden green sort of shade. So I want to keep this. I'm thinking about tossing this into a 7 for 7. We'll see, but this is going to be my other selection for my single shadow. Moving on to the face palette category, the random selection for me was the ABH Aurora Glow Kit, which I'm happy that I pulled an ABH Glow Kit because I always try and keep one glow kit going at a time. This is what this one looks like, so it's obviously the more fun colored one, but this one still has some really wearable shades. And actually, oh no, that's more of just like an icy white. I kind of want to see how that Luna looks on the cheekbone, because I have been really enjoying that Prismatic Amethyst shade. So I'm actually really excited about this one. I also like to use highlights like this as an inner corner highlight when I'm doing like colorful looks, just to really make them pop. So I'm actually really excited about this. And then I thought for my personal selection, the Becca Après-Ski Glow Palette would be a good one to choose. This was their holiday palette a couple of years ago. You have a blush, a bronzer, and then 4 highlights. So I'm really excited to get some use out of this as well. All right, that just means we have lips left. So for bullet lipsticks, I randomly selected this one from Tarte. This is one of the Rainforest of the Sea lipsticks, which is one of my favorite formulas. Here is the swatch right here. This is in the shade Beach Babe. And then for the bullet lipstick that I selected, I chose this one from Maybelline. This is in the shade Baddest Beige, which I kind of forgot I had, which is why I decided to reach for this. For liquid lipstick, I was really excited that I randomly selected a Dose of Colors liquid lipstick, because Dose of Colors makes one of the best liquid lipstick formulas in my opinion. And I selected the shade Mondays, which I haven't used in a while, but I really do like this shade, and I think it's a really nice one for this time of year. There it is swatched right there. And then for the shade that I'm going to be working on, I have this one from ColourPop. This is one of their ultra blotted lips. Here it is right here, and this is in the shade Zuma. I actually recently picked this up, and I haven't tried one of their ultra blotted lips yet, so I'm excited to give this a try. For a lip gloss, I randomly selected this one from Marc Jacobs. This is one of the lip gloss sticks, and I have mine in the shade Mocha Chocolate. I mentioned this a few times on my channel, but this isn't my favorite formula by any means. I feel like this wears off really easily, and it's just not worth the money in my opinion, but I still like the shade, and it's not something that like I want to declutter. I mean, I spent $28 on it. I want to use it, so excited to be working on that. And then for my own personal selection, I chose this one, which isn't necessarily a gloss, but a lip lacquer rather, and this is from NARS. This is in the shade Santo Domingo, which I think is just this really beautiful mauve rose tone shade that I think will be really nice to use again this time of year. For my like lip crayon category, I randomly selected this one from Pacifica. Ooh, this one, oh, there we go. Okay, this is kind of like a lipstick. This isn't necessarily a crayon, but it was with my crayon drawer. So this is the shade right here. It's in the shade Tender Heart. I don't know how I feel about the shade of this. I don't think I've actually ever worn this on my lips, if I'm being honest. And then for my selection for the crayon, I chose this one from Bite Beauty. This is in the shade Glace. I don't know how you pronounce that. There it is right there. And again, this is just another beautiful rosy mauve tone shade that I thought would be really nice for this time of year. And then finally, the last category was lip liner. I randomly selected this one from ColourPop in the shade Oh Snap, which I think is going to be really, really, really perfect for any time, but especially this time of year again. And then for my selection, I chose one that I'm currently working on in my 7 for 7. This is the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani collaboration, and this is in the shade Ex-Girlfriend. So you can't get this one anymore, but it just seriously works so well. It's like a Your Lips but better sort of shade, and I've really been enjoying using this. I'm gonna try and roll in a lip liner every 7 for 7 just because I never get used out of my lip liner collection. But this will be another good way because I wasn't reaching for lip liners during my Shop My Stash prior to kind of switching it up, so this will be a good way for me to get some use out of lip liners as well. All right, you guys, here is the finished product. Here is my everyday makeup drawer for the next 2 weeks. I really had fun creating this new style of Shop My Stash. I really did have fun with this. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Again, leave your feedback down below. Leave any suggestions or ideas that you may have for next week's update. Next week we will start in this drawer. I'll let you know what I used and did not use, and then we will go ahead and randomly select new stuff again. Have a good Sunday, you guys, and I will catch you in tomorrow's video.